Hey guys, so I'm using Gemini Pro 2.5 and this model is beyond intimidating. I was using it quite a bit and we can see that it is third place even though it is a limited model. You can just spam it. I guess a good news would be here that you can use it for like a few hours per day for free. The bad news would be that you can only use it for a few hours. Of course, depending on how intensely you're using it. So we can see it is free. And it's also crazy smart. Apparently it has an IQ of 133. Which, otherwise said, Google just replaced 98% of the population. An interesting benchmark I stumbled upon was first real-world long context benchmark for writers, with various models tested. But essentially, we are testing intelligence and context window. But I extracted it so we can see it a little better, and we can see that when it comes to 120,000 context, Gemini 2.5 Pro is getting 90 score, and the second place would be getting 25 less. So this is pretty much a slaughter, and Gemini 2.5 Pro is in a league of its own. And predictably, it just dominates all the way, except at 16K, apparently. But that might be just a fluke, who knows. Even if you wanted a backup or a plan B, you would probably go with QVQ32B here, which is a definitely underrated model compared to Google's free model with a similar amount of params. It scores 25, while QVQ32B scores 80. And at 16K, it's also tying for top score. And an interesting point is that it's also dirt cheap. 0.12 in and 0.18 out. So it would be kind of like half the price of Gemini Flash. And I guess we're gonna see where Gemini 2.5 Pro is gonna slow down. But of course, when it comes to higher context windows, Gemini 2.5 Pro is just unmatched. And on every single benchmark, it is predictably taking first place. In fact, Aether probably would be the most crushing because they managed to score 8 points on Claude 3.7 Sonnet thinking. While we can see the other models mostly just eking out a few points here and there and slowly climbing up. Because basically the higher you go, the more difficult it is to score even higher. I was also testing a DeepSeek V3, the new version, and it is a pretty good model. It is beating the 3.7 Sonnet that just came out a month ago. But at this point, Gemini 2.5 Pro is just stealing everyone's thunder. And suppose you can use it. It's also kind of fast. So you can see that the token output rate is pretty good. So 120 tokens per second. So even if you have to wait a little bit for the thinking process, you're still gonna get an answer relatively quickly. So basically what I'm saying that as long as you can just keep spamming Gemini Pro 2.5, then everything else is just pointless. The main models to consider, possibly, and Gemini Flash 2 would not be for coding, but for general tasks, it is one of the best model. It has a 1 million context window, which already makes it kind of special, because most tend to have like 128k. And it's also dang fast, and also pretty dang cheap. So this is kind of what you want to see. While QVQ32B would be the main alternative if you want a coder on the cheap, or possibly as a generalist model, because it's extremely smart. It is reasonably fast when it comes to tokens, but of course you can pay for faster providers that cost more. At which point, if you don't need a context window, it's probably the right choice over Flash. And that is pretty much the AI game right now. And it's near impossible to argue against using Gemini 2.5 Pro, for coding at least. Basically, your reason would be that you can't because you used up the free limit for the day. If you get stuck with a bigger project, others might not be able to help you. In fact, they most likely can't. And that is the main difference between Gemini Pro and everything else. That as the project scales, you're probably gonna get to the point where AI is gonna be helpful, but not as helpful. Before, even in the era of Claude 3.5, at least I often found myself, like, okay, Claude, you need to sit this one out because you're just not helping, right? We can see that although this is about writing, Claude 3.7 is still one place from last. And I guess the last one here would be DeepSeek V3, although many here did not even get a ranking. Well, an interesting result could be that Gemini 2 Flash is here, 4th place. But of course, this is not super surprising because Gemini 2 Flash has a 1 million long context window. So even though only 120K was tested, in my experience, especially if you just scale up, it was one of the best models to handle a lot of information. Which know that along with its price and its speed plays a pivotal role in its popularity. And this is a very important point because we can see that Gemini 2 Flash and Gemini 2.5 Pro only alongside Grok are the only ones that have a 1 million context window. Every other model at most has like 200K. And these models are not super relevant here. I guess we can count them if you want to. But intelligence-wise, they are not relevant. So these would be the main competitors here. But what is my point here? If we kept going, then essentially we would only have Gemini 2.5 Pro, probably followed by Flash. And if we went to 200K, this is where most models would just tap out. While the Geminis can easily go to 1 million. So pretty much the takeaway is that you should just spam Gemini 2.5 Pro as much as you can because it's insane. And it especially feels insane alongside using Klein in a bigger code base, because if you're just dealing with something that's within the competency and within like 200K token window that most AIs tend to be able to somewhat manage, then Gemini Pro is still better. And we can see that the second place at even at 60K is only getting 53 points at 120K tokens, which is about 1/8 of the limit that Gemini Pro has. And apparently they're gonna bump up the context window to 2 million later. So yeah, so they got a fast model that is the smartest, has 2 million context window, and in this case, it is as good as it sounds.